السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم ربنا اغفر لنا وارحمنا وأنت خير الراحمين آمين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين. Now, before we start the discussion, I think one of our friends wanted to ask a question related to the topic we discussed last week on Monday.
Thank you, Brother Ali. Yes, so we went over what's the purpose of the mission of the Prophet last week a little bit, but it was too fast towards the end when we were talking about Solomon's story, why he has been given all those, when he prayed, I need a lot of things, and why he has been given all the wind at his command, the Satan's at his command, and everything, many things in the universe, as much as possible he was given. So there's a purpose for the one who wrote the scripture, God, for telling us this message, bringing to us. What is the point in telling us that? And then that goes into the mission of the messengers and the prophets. Why are we told about them? How do we read the hadith accordingly? What are the aspects that you mentioned? If you can please elaborate on them again, inshallah.
Thank you. It is practical and also important because when we read the prophetic stories in the Qur'an and also about the narrations from the life of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Of course, they are related to our life. There must be, otherwise the prophethood means just a person's personal philosophies. Sharing their personal philosophies with us. Excuse me. Sorry about this interruption. Now, and also stories mentioned in the Quran about the prophets and the hadith narrations, how we should read the hadith narrations as well. These are important practical matters because when we read the hadith, we think that the hadith is only what the prophet teaches us, how to practice our ritualistic prayers, instruct us, show us how we should distribute the wealth between people and how we should behave towards people nicely and how we should pray and do or perform our pilgrimage to Kaaba. All of these concerns are, yes, legitimate, but this is only a small, very, very small, limited portion of the hadith narrations. And at the same time, it is very common among the Muslim community, hadith narrations are especially emphasized on the moral sides, ethical side of the teachings of the Prophet ﷺ. That is also correct. That is included. What is mostly missing from our point is important. What is that? The main mission of the prophets in general to teach us who our creator, who our owner, who the owner, the Lord of this universe is, to introduce him to us, rather than just briefly saying that the universe has a creator, and in the language of the Quran, his name is God, Allah. Okay, the universe has a creator, so what shall I do? Who's that? Creator. Yeah, the created the universe, but what shall I do? How am I going to get to know him, communicate with him, and which kind of qualities does he have? All these side of the belief, fundamental belief relationship with God is taught through the life of the prophets or through the prophetic stories in the Quran. Not only belief in God is also taught. How can I believe in angels? What does believing mean in the hereafter? What does believing in really revelation? What is revelation? Even the prophethood. How can I really live in this world with the presence of God speaking to us through the prophets, and also presence of the prophet now? Because if we see that, for example, the last prophet of this period of life was Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Good. And he died. Now, Christian century 6 something, 32, but the number is not important. Years ago, okay. And what shall I do now? He died. So do I really concentrate on hadith narrations in order to communicate with the prophet, or should I have the concept of the prophet in this world while I am living in this world? Concept of the prophet. Does the prophet now exist for me, or he died? But we know that the message of the prophet must be alive with us. What does it mean? For example, think about it. When we look at the universe, we see that the some mass of matter very interestingly acts in harmony within an order. Yeah, it is created by God. Okay, I believe that. Most of the people believe that anyways. And then the prophetic message comes and explains the reality of this existence as like a book, like a mirror, like a conversation between the creator of the universe and me, like a book full of meaning, manifesting, reflecting the qualities of its creator. Like a mirror, reflections of the attributes, which is asma in the language of the Quran, attributes of God is reflecting in on this universe. When I see inequality, oh, look at this. It is so wise. It is so useful. These are the qualities that I am detecting in the creation of the universe. Qualities of the creator I am really perceiving. Like a simple example we always give in these classes. You're looking at a piece of art, what you see there? Let's say it is made of, let's say, stone. But we don't look at the stone. We look at the art. We see the art there. So I see, when I look at, for example, a sculpture, I see the quality of the art of the one who made it. The universe is full of art, full of meaningful activities. So these are also introduced to us through the messages of the prophets. Philosophers, at the best, they say, some of them, there is a mysterious God who created the universe. These are the best philosophers. At least they don't deny that there must be a creator. But nowadays, it is also gone. It is happening by itself, they claim. Now, when you look at the universe from one aspect, without the light explanation of the prophets, we see what? Only some mass of matter. However, it happened to be in an organized way. And it is really awesome, okay? But what is my position in it? Nothing. Why nothing? Because I am a part of this meaningless mass, and well, I know I'm going to die. And what will happen to the universe after I die? It doesn't matter, because I will disappear from existence. Now, the prophets come, change everything into a living word, meaningful word. That is the prophetic message. What we have to do with it? We have to look at this, if you like, glasses, lenses. We learned from the prophets, look at the universe and say, this is what the prophet is demonstrating to me right now. That's why you say, yes, without the presence of the prophetic message actively involved into my life, the universe will be meaningless and my life will be meaningless and therefore horrible. That is what the mission of belief in the prophethood. We have to expect from the Hadith readings, we have to expect from the stories of the prophets in the Quran, mentioned in the Quran, in order to revive this view related to 6 pillars of belief. So when you read the hadith, it is somehow, every hadith is concentrating on, because hadith narrations are the narrations of the people from the instances of the prophetic life or instances of the prophetess talk, long talk. They narrate one sentence, one paragraph at the most, that's it. And we have to bear in mind that this is what attracted the people around them. But these must be the most important part of the discussion. That's why it was memorized by the people, and they later on recorded, and when later on compiled in book forms. So they were so precious. So we have to look at them in order to understand belief matters. That's why we have to read the stories. For example, which kind of message I can get from this verse or from this section of the Quran, so that I will be enlightened, I will be learning about belief matters, introducing the belief matters. That is one aspect of the prophetic message. Now, another aspect, of course, we see that the narrations in the behavior of the prophets in hadith narrations as well as in the Quranic prophetic stories. These are the second part that we have to pay attention to, practical side of the belief. It means how the belief is practiced in one's life. For example, there are verses that we are going to read as well. For example, read verse 44. I think we are not there. Okay, it is. We can go to the because I want to. Oh, this is here as well. Yeah, I want to 44. What does it say? And take in your hand a bunch of grass and strike with it, and don't break your oath. We found him patient, an excellent servant who would always turn to us. What does it mean? God is giving the prophet mentioned here, and prophet Ayub, I think. But he said he is looking for a solution, how to deal with the difficult positions, difficult things that God has put him into. But God says, okay, when you are encountering with difficulties, some stresses, problems, what is advised to you? Patient. Patient has different meanings that we will study when we are, inshallah, studying this verse. What does patient mean there? The second part of the mission of the prophet is not only theoretical teaching of the belief matters, but also practical examples, how these belief principles must be practiced in our life. That is the second aspect of it. The third aspect, which is also somehow known to Muslims, which is very famous in English, dawa, dawa, dawa. Yeah, that's correct. That's correct, which means the prophet received the message, plus practiced it in his life, and turned the theoretical belief into practical matter. Now, but at the same time, he wanted to spread the message. This is the third dimensions of the hadith and also prophetic examples in the Quran, wanted to spread. They struggled. Straw, I think, one. So made the biggest possible effort to spread the message as much as possible to the people. Not only around me, some people around me, that's okay. Or I can just believe in God and practice it in my life. Now, I cannot really interfere into other people's business. No, we have to. The prophets are all struggling. All the Quranic examples of the prophetic stories full of struggle. Why do they bother about it? That is the mission of the prophets, being an example for us that we should not be selfish. We should not be really conservative for our life. We say, okay, I will be taking care of my duty, but don't forget, my duty includes to share the message with others as well, convey the message to others as well. Nadia, your video is open. If you opened it on purpose or by mistake, I don't know. This is somehow in American society very much how can I find a nice word for it? Reduced to almost nothing. Why? Now everybody is free to believe whatever they believe. Correct. Everybody must be given freedom, and we should not really blame them or, yeah, we don't blame them, but we love people. And also, we should not interfere into other people's business. If we say to somebody here, especially in American society, that, look, are you sure that what you are doing is right? What you believe in right? Are you sure? They will look at you as if somebody has come from the moon. That is the aspect of the prophetic message forgotten almost among the Muslims, among themselves. But the prophets had two missions in this respect. One of them, educating the people who have already accepted the message, and increasing their belief, increasing their practice, but at the same time, introducing the message to other people who have no knowledge of it at all. How? They go and say that, are you sure what your life is? Are you sure that this life on earth consists of only this life? Why do you think you are here, and why do you think you are going to die? There must be a purpose for your life, etc. Questions, or asking them or inciting their interest in the subject and giving the message, conveying the message. There must be a purpose in our creation. We have to take care of every people's needs. But for what? In order to acknowledge that we are not alone, we are not left alone in this world on our own power, if you like, own choice. We are given some material or immaterial, whatever, gift from Allah, and we have to spread it to others. We have to share it. For example, it may be a property, and share it with the others apart from what you need. It may be ideas, share it with others. And if you are enjoying it, love other people. Even they don't love you, they may hate you, still love them and try to save them from meaningless life. Why? Because I am saved with this message, and I am very happy now that I am aware who my creator is, what the purpose of my life is, the meaning of existence. How should I live in this world according to the real owner of this universe and according to his will? Look, I'm very happy. Why shouldn't I make other people also happy? Remind them. This is, especially in America, very, very difficult because of this cultural influence on us. But at any rate, we have to do it. We have to do it as much as we can. Unfortunately, I found that the most important obstacle, I cannot tell anybody, according to my understanding, what you are doing is wrong. But according to my understanding, oh, the person gets furious that who are you that you are telling me that I am wrong? Yeah, I feel, I believe you are wrong. You cannot tell this to people here because of this cultural influence, because of this civilization, but we have to challenge it. We have to challenge it. You have to tell me what's wrong with me, why I am not happy. You have to tell me. And also try to approach people in order to tell them. This is another fundamental, the third fundamental mission of the prophets. This third fundamental has two sections. One section is all those people like us here, we have to share. For example, in order to improve our understanding of the meaning of our existence, make our happiness even at a higher and higher level between ourselves. That is one. But we should not stay there. You in your area, I in my area, look for any opportunity that I can have an access to anybody. Look for an opportunity. If there is no obvious, clear, ready opportunity, try to make one. Huh? For example, make an occasion, invite your friend, your relatives, and just with the intention that you want to share something with them which satisfies you, which makes you feel enjoy. Your life is enjoyable, happy. Why don't you make them feel happy? When somebody is hungry, we don't feel that it is a shame to go and interfere into this person's life, personal life. So what we do, oh, would you like me to help you with this? We offer, it is okay, as long as it is just bodily relationship. When it comes to belief, understanding, etc., it is something taboo in American society. That is why we are here, just prefer to live on our self. I'm not saying every one of you here, no. You are here, for example, you want to share it. But personally, everybody must really assume this responsibility and try to do something. What should I do now in order to help this family member? Now, don't make it into a quarrel. be as kind and respectful as possible. That was the Prophet's really fundamental, respectful. He was fundamental principle in relationship with his family members. He has to really appreciate them. He sort of used to appreciate them. He used to have an access, a loving access to them, and he shared his concern with them in a kind manner, not a competitive manner, not a fighting manner. So that you are wrong, I'm right. No, no, no. Try to see as much as possible to find a common point. That's what the Quran advises. Find a common point. Most of your relatives, friends, maybe, but most probably, at least most of us here, are believing in God. Okay, don't say that your belief in God is not really substantiated, not really firm. You just follow your culture. This is an insult. This is not teaching. This is a competition. It is just a way of satisfying your ego, my ego. This is not the way. But, oh, you believe in God. Oh, that is what our common point. And then slowly, slowly, do you think these things are the evidence of what we believe and demonstrate that our God is the one who is giving us this and how perfectly, beautifully he made. So anytime I'm interacting with any happy position, I have to really refer it to God, to its creator. We don't own it, etc. And then come from other perspective. Now, when something happens bad, it doesn't mean that God is really being harsh to us. Why? Because in every creation, there must be a wisdom. There must be wisdom manifesting itself, etc., depending on the conditions. So I will leave it here, inshallah. Yeah, I took the note here that one of our friends had this question and we will discuss about it. So I was a bit ready, waiting for this discussion, inshallah. Okay. Okay. Amen. Nasim says, Jazakallah, wa iyyak, inshallah. Amen. So, verse 39. هذا تعالى فمن أو أمسك بغير حساب. Now, this is our gift. So, give graciously. فمن menne, it comes from menne. So, emnen, the verb says, give graciously. So, menne, giving something is just a gift, graciously. It means don't really say that, look, I'm taking care of your life. I am helping you. No. Just that is what we give. We gave you gifts, God's gifts. Everything is God's gifts anyway. But now it is up to you whether you can give graciously. It means happily share it with others or keep without any limit. Now, it is up to you. Why? That is how God treats us. Not God gave us and we are absolutely free, whether we share it or not. That is up to me. Not in this sense. Look, I am giving all my presents, my gifts to you, and I left you free. He doesn't interfere into our life. Look at this universe or the order of the universe. So if I don't give it, there are many people who are very rich people, God gave them a lot of property. They don't share. Some of them do, some of them don't. But at the end, does God take property away from them? No. But what does he do? He shows them that the property will remain there, but you will be gone. So it is a very severe reminder. Rather than taking the properties from my hand, he takes me and leaves the property behind. That is how he treats. But while I am alive, while I am owning them, I am free to share it or not share it, keep it for myself. That's up to you. You are absolutely free until you die. That is how God is speaking to Solomon. I think we were studying there. He gave everything he wanted, well, beyond his imagination, maybe, even, I don't think as a human being he would imagine that, please give me the servants from jinn, from Satan, etc. But we studied those matters. God gave them, even God gave him the wind, subjugated the wind to his service, so he traveled with the wind in order to spread the message as wide as possible he could do in his life. He was giving graciously. He didn't keep it. But practically speaking, in terms of the order, we are free either to give, share them with others, or keep it for ourselves and die and go without any property into the second world, second creation. This is the order, everybody knows it. So, and surely he enjoys exclusive nearness in our presence and in an exalted position in the hereafter. Now, what does it mean? Of course, we can understand in two ways, which is also in wisdom scholarship, understood in two ways. He enjoys exclusive nearness in our presence. It means God regarded him so precious, so highly. That is why exclusive nearness in God's presence. But at the same time, we can look at from our perspective and from our responsibility point of view, we understand that we are always expected to be remembering, never forgetting, keeping the presence of God, consciousness in our mind, in our feeling, and live accordingly. That is what my responsibility is. God is near to me. He is my creator. How can I say he is not near to me? How do I exist if he did not give me existence, or if he doesn't give me existence? That is somehow obvious. And also, it is not my responsibility. That is how God creates. So it is not my concern. It is concern that God is always with me because he is creating me. But the responsibility side is slightly different. What is that? I have to keep this belief in God, awareness, God consciousness, always with me, so that I will keep his presence in my life. So I will feel his nearness in me. So وَإِنَّ لَهُ عِنْدَنَا لَزُلْفَى. So when you read it, he enjoys exclusively nearness in our presence, but from God's perspective, from my perspective, now exclusive nearness in our presence, in God's presence, it means When I remember God, فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ. That's a very famous verse of the Quran. Remember me so that I will remember you. What does it mean? It doesn't mean that God forgets me. If you don't remember me, you think I will forget about you. It means there is no relationship between me and my creator. As soon as I remember my creator, that looking at myself or anything around me, that they need to be created, and who is creating them? They are given existence, and continuously their existence is changing. It is so amazing. So who's changing it? Somebody must be busy with it. So can it change itself? Can I age by myself? Can my cells or the particles, my mass, my body pieces, particles, really arrange everything? So human body, for example, let alone the human feelings, they say in the body of a person, unimaginable, unbelievable. The nerve system, when you put a very small needle point, just touch a part of your body, you become aware of it. It means there is nervous system. Here comes the brain, how the system is established by God, and the human feelings, human spirit gets it. When it is dumb, it means when the nerves temporarily or permanently become numb, I don't really feel anything. That is how the relationship between body and spirit is established. Spirit can communicate with the world only through a body. That's why in the hereafter, when my worldly body is left in this world and got rotten, definitely in my next creation, I must be given another body in order to enable my spirit to function, so that I will be seeing, I will be feeling, I will be enjoying. God forbid, I will be really feeling the sadness and pain, etc., in the hell or in paradise. But these communications has to take through the body. So feeling side doesn't need the body, but if I don't experience the body, feeling side doesn't know how to feel it, how to experience it. That's what our relationship is. Life and body is different from human soul. We have to make this distinction. Unfortunately, this civilization, this secular understanding, materialist understanding of existence, reduces living beings to two sides. What is that? Body and life. Although materialism cannot accept life, but they say, however it is, whatever it is, it must be the result of the functioning of the matter. That is their meaningless understanding. Doesn't make sense how the matter can produce life, or can be the source of life. Life has nothing to do with matter. But anyways, they cannot deny it, because there is a distinct, very sharp difference between death and life. So they cannot deny that something happened. No one can deny. So they have to interpret it in a way. But what we understand, or what human reality is, not only body, not only life, but also spirit. That's why those people who are not aware of another entity in my existence, in the existence of a person, when their father, their mother dies, separation is feeling correct. So we can really digest the separation. We want to be together. That is correct, and there is a reason for it. Because we don't want to, through this feeling, we dislike separation. We have to use it not to separate ourselves from our Creator. But we have to experience it in this world. If I lose something that I loved, for example, one of my beloved ones I am concerned with dies, separation is experienced or reflected in my being in the form of a sadness. That is correct. This is how human feelings work. But we should not really completely get out of control saying that I lost my mom. No, you didn't lose your mom. Just a minute. How can she die? Oh, no. She will die. And also, don't forget, you will die. I will die. Definitely. No way to escape from it. But what is death? Now, separation side is the pain of the separation is real human feeling. But will I get angry with God that he took my mom away? No, he gave your mom to you. He gave the life to your mom. He gave the life to you. He gave the life, the sense of disliking separation again. You have to dislike separation so that you should be careful not to separate yourself from your Creator, right? But did you lose your mom? No. Why? Your mom is not body. Your mom is not the life of the body. Your mom is the soul. Your mom is the soul. Soul is an independent entity. She lives in the form of a soul now, but what is the condition of living in the form of a soul? Being in the form of a soul, in Islamic literature, they say the word of the souls. El-alamul arwah. Word of the souls. Another level of existence. And after the resurrection, it may take some time for us if we compare it with this time of the universe that we are experiencing here. Somebody, Murat, so your video is on, Murat. If you want it, keep it. Deliberately, are you doing it, Murat? Okay. Now, soul never dies. After the resurrection, the soul is given the body. Actually, when the soul is given a body, is the resurrection. Now, but while we are in the world, we have a long period of time, experiences, 1 year, 10 years, a decade, or an age or something. 1 second, 1 minute goes on, 1 day, 1 week goes on. This is the concept of existence within the existence of this universe. Whereas in the world of the souls, until the day of resurrection, how long does it take? There is no such concept. Why? How long this question is only or can only be thought of in the conditions of this universe for us while we are alive. But when we are taken out of the conditions of this universe and our spirit, our soul is separated from our body, soul finds itself automatically in this soul must find, I should say, not finds. Soul must find itself automatically in the world of spirit. He must exist there. In the world of spirit, every scale is completely different from the scales that we are using every measurement here in this world. So don't say that, oh, my mother is waiting in the grave until the day of resurrection. How long is it? It might be boring. Yeah, it is boring for you while you are alive. For her, she's completely in a different level of existence. So why, for example, while I am here physically in my house and speaking here in front of my computer, my mind may just go to, for example, Ali Khidr or Asim, and my imagination just connects him immediately. That is the sign that God's creation has many different aspects. So that I will say, for example, memory. 50 years ago, what happened to me? I remember. What is that? This power of memory, remembering something 50 years ago, how long does it take to come to your mind? 50 years ago, on the spot. Yesterday, again on the spot, remembering. And while you are having a child experience, it is recorded in your memory, it comes, so the distance, yesterday and 50 years ago, and in my age, it's 70 years ago, what happened? They come to my memory, and then my spirit experiences it at the same speed. Does it really? Memory, imagination is not subject to the time concept of this universe that we developed. So don't say, my mother has died, and she is waiting for me to come. No, it is for you. You are waiting to join her. She's not waiting for you. Her time scale is maybe like imagination. On the spot, billions of years goes there. On the spot. We can go, they say, 13.8 billion years ago, something happened at the beginning of the existence of this universe. We say, let me imagine this. On the spot, you go back to 13.8 billion years. On the spot. Or, what happened yesterday? This guy was speaking to me like this. It's same speed. It takes the same time. That is the mysterious creation. God is introducing the reality of existence, therefore introducing the power. He is manifesting in an amazing way in this world, wisdom, knowledge, all together. So we have to be always aware of this kind of differences. So human nerve system, they say one body. Nerve system is as long as the difference between the earth and the moon. I mean, who measured it? It must be an, guess or rough calculation. Doesn't matter. Who is this long? Imagine a rope from the earth tied to the moon, and bring this rope make it so thin and really perfectly distribute this connection within the body of the man, and all of them perfectly without confusion connected to the brain. And the brain is the human spirit, human soul operates through the material. Material means the means of the brain. So it operates through the function of the brain. That's how we are created in this world. And no confusion. When these people say it happened accidentally, huh? By itself. I say, what? What are you talking about? You'd better go to a mental hospital. That is what I can be, as kind as I can, this kind before this kind of behavior. So we have to enjoy exclusive nearness in God's presence and exalted position in the hereafter as an extension of our nearness in God's presence. What does it mean? If I keep God consciousness continuously in my life, as a result, what happens? My spirit becomes so much acquainted, familiar with its creator, and he doesn't see matter anymore. He sees the actions of God presenting themselves to him or her and observes. Now, remember the example of the sculpture made of stone. When you look at the sculpture, you don't see the stone. If you concentrate on it, you see only manifestations of art. Stone side is not your concern anymore. That is why how we understand living in the presence of God. See nothing in this world but the functioning of the manifestations of its creator's qualities. That is what the prophet Solomon was. As a result, he was given an exalted position in the hereafter. The more property, the more wealth he was given, the closer he became to God. How? All these gifts reminded him nothing but gift of God, presentation of God's qualities to his spirit. So introducing God's qualities to himself, to his spirit. By the way, spirit is from God as well. So two sides, the manifestations of the names of God and the capacity to acknowledge them, to really perceive them, and human free will can connect them or disconnect them, separate them. Materialist people put human being on one side and give him an external existence, and put the creator's presentation of himself on the other side, because it is not the creator of the, presentation of the creator through the act of creation in the universe to human being. It is happening by itself. That is hell. Completely away from God's presentation of himself to human beings. Without God, you will exist, God will create you, but you will never, ever experience God's grace because you separated it through your free will. your choice. But you can do the opposite as well. Come together in the language of the Islamic scripture. You can ascend to ascension, miraj. Coming together. Your spirit is able to perceive, and your free will functions and pulls two sides of the, what is that? Kabe Qawsain. How is it called? Arrow or bow? Bow and arrow. Yeah, forget about arrow, bow. You can bow two ends, get together. It is a symbolic teaching of the Quran, the Miraj. Now, what does it mean? Here, nearness and exalted position in the hereafter. It means spirit is trained and got ready. MashaAllah, these are amazing. Language was so simple, but the meaning is so deep. Innahu lahu indana lezulfa wa husn al-ma'ab, as a consequence of it, husn al-ma'ab, the exalted position in the hereafter. Yeah, where this spirit now finds himself in ma'ab. Ma'ab, where the people turn back to its original form. Ma'ab, I mean, we are not studying the language, and it is not my specialty, but somehow I understand why it is translated as the hereafter. Why? Where the spirit is in paradise, of course, in the case of Solomon, where the spirit is without any difficulty, experiences the creation of God's creation and sees that this is nothing but God's acts. But in this world, we say that, oh, the fruit is grown on the tree, but because the tree is feeding it, etc. Something is happening, chemical reactions happening there, etc. Okay. The time is up. Inshallah, we can continue from verse 41. Inshallah. Next week, here it is. All right. Okay. The subject changes to the story of Ayub. So we will start studying the story of Ayub. We are done with the story of Solomon, inshallah. Any questions, any concern, any comment, anything? Let me see, is there any comment? No. No. Anything? Okay.
Assalamualaikum, Dr. Ali. I just wanted to ask in ayah number 36, when it says ghairi hisab, or you can keep it with you for unlimited time. 36.
36.
6.
36. That was long ago. We studied that. Am I right? Yeah.
No, we studied today. There are two ayahs which we studied. The ayah, first one, it was ending with ghairi hisab, like you can keep it for unlimited time or something like that. So why does it say ghairi hisab?
Emsik bighayri hisab, with no limitation. With no limitation. Yeah. It was 13. It is 39 then. Yeah.
39. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. What is the question? I couldn't get it.
Yeah. So like, why does it say ghairi hisab? You can hold it. Ghairi hisab means it won't turn into anything. I didn't get the part.
No. Inshallah, I'll try to understand and respond back to you rightly as much as I could. This is, we studied this, I think you were here or not, I don't pay really attention to the participants who came a bit later, but at the beginning of studying this verse, we said, this refers to human free will. In the order of this universe, we are given free will. God creates everything, whether we benefit from it or not. God gives us some opportunities, whether in the form of properties or wealth, or in the form of understanding, enlightenment, happiness, etc. Whatever it is, but we are given free will. We can do what we can do. We can share it with others or not share it with others. That's we are free. So that is why, and the freedom has no limit in this world, to keep it or not keep it. If you don't keep it, God one day doesn't take your property away. Not necessarily. Sometimes it may, sometimes it doesn't. That is up to God. But as far as I am concerned, I am free to operate on my property as long as I am alive. I'm living in this world. That is God's principle. But on the other hand, God gives, God takes a little bit. That's up to him. That's not my concern. That's up to him. He decides about it. Whatever is left to me, I am free to dispose on it as I like. That's what I understood. Inshallah, it may be helpful.
Jazakallah khair for, I think I joined late, so you must have. Thank you for explaining it again.